people close to the king really, really want him out by Easter.
Let's talk about Harry. Prince Harry may have won his fight to get back his taxpayer-funded armed security when he comes to the UK. Now, if this move is confirmed, it could lead to his children seeing the king for the first time in years. They are his grandchildren, after all. This comes after the Duke of Sussex wrote to the Home Secretary in September after an incident with a stalker who had previously made online threats against him. Let's have a word with Kate Mansey, assistant editor and royal editor for The Times. So, Kate, what's brought this about exactly?
Well, this is a long-running saga, as you well know. So it's been 4 years since Harry first started legal action against the Home Office to try and have his bodyguards, his police protection reinstated. Yep. Every time he comes to the UK, he said that it was his right and the risk hadn't changed. So when he left official duties, he had all that taken away from him. He said, the risk assessment dropped. Obviously, we now know that court case was unsuccessful, and then he appealed. That was also unsuccessful. He told the BBC it was a good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up. He was very cross about it. Now, he's written to Shabama Mahmood at the end of last year saying that he wanted a risk management board. So this is where they look at the level of risk against Prince Harry in the UK. He's saying it should never have been taken down. The risk didn't decrease because he was away from official duties. He's still Prince Harry, then the son of now the son of the monarch, previously the grandson of the monarch. From reports at the weekend, it looks like that RMB has been successful, and he's now very confident, it seems, that he's going to have that police security reinstated every time he comes to the UK.
Right, but we haven't had this officially confirmed by anybody.
It's not been officially confirmed by anybody. Team Sussex are saying they don't speak about security, and everyone's being quite cautious about it. But certainly we know we're expecting an announcement this month about the outcome of this latest kind of appeal, if you like, for him to get his security back.
Right. He has made the occasional relatively brief trip to the UK, hasn't he? And what's he done in terms of security on those trips?
So those previous trips, he's had to give kind of 30 days notice, and he will then apply, if you like, to have security each time, depending on what he's doing. And my understanding is every time he's come, he hasn't had that kind of one-on-one police protection. There's been kind of police sweeps, for example, of the hotel where he hosted the Well Child Charity Awards, and sort of policing around the sides. But it will be a matter of his team kind of phoning the British Transport Police, telling them that he's getting on a train and things like that. So he has never actually had that kind of police security since he stepped away.
Right. And there is no doubt that we know there is this stalker. What are we safe to say about any incident involving this individual?
Yeah, so there was an incident with Harry, and we understand that the police were made aware of that. It's what's known as kind of fixated individuals who are known to sort of follow around members of, any VIPs, but particularly members of the royal family in some cases. And that will have kind of spooked his team while he was over here without police protection. But there's also other threats against Prince Harry that, a lot of the public don't know about. And while, yes, he did step away from official duties, a lot of people, I think, do have some sympathy with him in terms of having, that risk against him hasn't decreased. He served in Afghanistan for 2 tours of Afghanistan. In his memoir, Spare, he talked about some of the killing that happened out there. And his team has always said from the beginning that he shouldn't have had that security taken away.
I mean, I've read Spare and I know exactly what you're referring to, and I do think it was an extraordinary admission for him to make, probably not a very wise one, actually, although honest, you could say. He was really putting himself in danger by saying those things, wasn't he?
Well, there was a lot of criticism, wasn't there, at the time about him, saying he's effectively put kind of crosshairs on him, having put that out there.
Which makes it even odder that his protection was taken away.
Well, it's interesting that his protection was taken away. I think some people around him have always seen it as a bit of a punitive measure. Well, if you leave official duties, you won't get security. And that was kind of used as a kind of a tool to try to keep him in the fold. He went away regardless. And I think even he was quite surprised that that security was genuinely taken away.
So if he gets it back, if he gets back the protection paid for by us and everybody else listening, does that mean he's likely to come more often? And will his children establish some kind of a relationship with their grandfather?
Yeah, well, they're two really good questions. I mean, he's always said he wants to come back more. So I expect if he does get UK security, he will. Now, looking ahead to later this year and 2027, he's going to be hosting his Invictus Games, his Paralympic-style games for wounded servicemen and women in Birmingham in 2027 in July next year. And he always does a kind of a year ahead, look ahead when he does these things, so we can expect him this July in the kind of 1 year countdown. Now, I'm sure it's one of the biggest things that he's proud of in his work. I expect he would like to bring the Duchess of Sussex and the 2 children with him. He's always said he wants his children to have some sort of relationship with the king. I mean, whether reconciliation is likely, given some of the water under the bridge, it's hard to say.
We've
really
all got families and they're never easy. But do we have any idea whether there is any positivity coming from the other side? Does the king want to restore relations with Harry and Meghan?
Well, it looked like that, didn't it? At the end of 2025, we had that meeting. There was a cup of tea at Clarence House. It came a couple of months after Harry's people had met the King's people, and then the pictures of that meeting had been leaked. Then we had the meeting between father and son. It looked like the start of a brilliant reunion. Obviously, King's not been well. But after that, there were sort of various recriminations on both sides. So Harry's lot were upset because details of that meeting had been leaked, and they claimed that the palace was trying to sabotage that kind of fragile relationship with the king and Harry. The palace were then said they were bemused, they were baffled and kind of saddened by that allegation. So it always seems like it's kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this kind of reunion. I'm not sure we can see kind of a huge welcoming and open arms anytime soon, but I think if Harry is determined to come here more often, perhaps slowly but surely, if he's perhaps prepared to apologise. So last year I was told that one of the big sticking points was that Harry was always asking the royal family to apologise to him, and that would be the start of him, having more of a family connection to them. But that demand quietly got dropped when he realised that was not forthcoming. No. I think what it might need from Harry now is for him to acknowledge that perhaps he has something to apologise for.
It's called a compromise, isn't it, Fee? I mean, we often talk about the noble art of compromise.
Well, after lots of people have had various Christmases with their families, I think everybody has some sympathy with difficulties there. But I think, when it's writ large, I think it was such a missed opportunity after that cup of tea meeting that there was then this kind of public tit for tat after what had happened. It just seemed extraordinary as a way to sort of go forward and build bridges. But
right, and can we just have a quick word about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? He's still in that big house on the Windsor estate, isn't he?
Yes.
He hasn't actually shifted yet.
No, he's due to leave. He's got until October to get out. I mean, if you think he's got a lifetime's worth of stuff in there, there's artefacts from the Royal Collection in there. There's obviously negotiations to be had about what state the property's in with regards to what refund, if any, he gets back. It's going to be it's more any house move is complicated, as you know, but this is more so. I don't think he's in any rush to leave. People close to the king really, really want him out by Easter, I've been told. But let's see how far that goes.
Thank you, Kate. Kate Mansey, assistant editor and royal editor for The Times. What Fee's laughing? Well, it's just family life in the Raw, isn't it?
It is family life in the Raw. I mean, I don't think anybody listening is going to be able to conjure up any sympathy for a guy with a very big house who's going to take quite a bit of time to sort through his stuff.
Well, he's got a big teddy bear collection.
Well, he does, doesn't he? But it's stuff like that, isn't it? Where you just think, God, I mean, if he ever tries to play that card, we're not here for it, Andrew. We are not here for it.